Hello friends, this video on redox reaction part 11 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. By this time we have studied we have studied redox reaction. We know how to find redox reaction. If the reaction has both oxidation and reduction happening, that reaction is called redox reaction. Now the question is, let's study more deep into redox reaction and let's study the various types of redox reaction. There are four types of redox reaction. The first one is combination reaction, the second is decomposition reaction, the third is displacement reaction. In displacement reaction itself we have metal displacement and non-metal displacement, and then we have disproportionation reaction. So let's study each of these. Combination reaction, as the name suggests, it is a form A plus B is equal to C. Here either A or B or both A and B has to be in elemental form. So example can be carbon plus oxygen gives CO2. Here if you see both C and O2 are in elemental form, it gives carbon dioxide, which is not in elemental form. Then another reaction is decomposition reaction, where from A you get B and C, right? It breaks. So example can be, if you see water, if you break it gives hydrogen and oxygen. NaH, if you break it gives sodium and hydrogen gas. KClO3, if you break you get KCl and oxygen. CaCO3, if you break you get CaO and CO2. The next type of reaction, as I told, is displacement reaction. This displacement reaction is of this form. You have X and YZ. X will displace Y. So Y will come out actually. So it will become XZ and Y. If you see, right, X will kick Y and Y will come out and you get XZ. This kind of reaction. And there are two types, as I told, metal displacement and non-metal displacement. Let's discuss the metal displacement. So in this metal displacement, a metal is displaced by another metal. We will take some examples. For example, if you see CuSO4 plus zinc, so in this case if you make them react, zinc will kick this copper out and it will become zinc sulfate and copper, right? But the reverse will not happen. We'll see why. We'll see that zinc sulfate plus copper, if you react, no reaction will happen. So I'll show you. Zinc sulfate plus copper, there is no reaction. But copper sulfate plus zinc will be able to kick out copper, because copper, we'll discuss this in the next few slides. Another example is V2O5 plus calcium. If you see, calcium has the power to kick this out and it combines with the oxygen. This guy is out, right? Similarly, TiCl4 and magnesium can kick this out and tin is out and chlorine is combined with magnesium. Similarly, Cr2O3 aluminum, if you see, aluminum can kick this chromium out and becomes Al2O3, right? So in metals we have displacement reaction. Similarly, we'll have non-metal displacement reaction also. So here if you see the strong non-metals, the alkali and the alkaline, they are very good reductants and they can displace hydrogen from cold water itself. So if you see, the sodium is kicking out here hydrogen. Earlier, if you see the examples, copper was kicking out zinc was kicking out copper, right? Zinc plus copper sulfate was zinc sulfate. So zinc was kicking out copper, but here now my sodium is kicking out hydrogen, right? And hydrogen is a non-metal. So the non-metal is getting displaced. Correct? More example can be calcium plus water. If you see, so calcium will kick out this hydrogen, or magnesium plus water, it can kick out the hydrogen here, or iron plus water, this rusting, the reaction for rusting, it will also kick out hydrogen. Sometimes the metals are not very strong, but and they are not able to kick out hydrogen from water, but they are able to kick out hydrogen from acids. For example, zinc, if you react with water there won't be reaction, but with zinc you react with HCl, zinc can kick out this hydrogen from HCl. Similarly, manganese can also kick out hydrogen from HCl. Iron can also kick out hydrogen from HCl, right? And some metals are very less active. For example, gold, silver, they don't even react with hydrochloric acid. So metals, if you see, not every metal can kick out hydrogen from water. Not every metal can kick out hydrogen from acids. There are some metals they can't even kick out hydrogen from acids or water, right? So here, if you see, when I say non-metal displacement, it doesn't mean non-metal is displacing non-metal. A metal can also displace non-metal. So if you see in most of the examples, the metal has displaced non-metal. In case of halogens is a non-metal and it also has the power. It's a good oxidizing agent. Or if you see, fluorine is very reactive and it can replace chloride and bromide and iodide ions in the solution. For example, if you see, if I have fluorine, if I put in water, you get HF. So in this case also, if you see, this is chlorine, it is KBr. This chlorine can easily replace the bromine here. Here, if you see, the non-metal is displacing non-metal. So in case of non-metal displacement, a metal can displace non-metal, or a non-metal can displace non-metal itself, right? Here if you see chlorine plus Ki, chlorine also displaced I from here, it became KCl. The another type of reaction, this is pretty different, is called disproportionation reaction. It's very different reaction. So let's understand this. But before I go to that, let me write order for the oxidizing and reducing power. So as I told, oxidizing power decrease as we move down the group for halogens. So oxidizing power, if you want to write a series, it will be fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. This is the oxidizing power. And if you talk about the acids reducing power, HF will have least reducing power, then HCl, then HBr, then HI. See, oxidizing power, if you see why, because this is very reactive. It always wants to become F minus, right? It always want to really lose one electron and becomes F minus. Since always want to get reduced, it has very high oxidizing power. Same thing for chlorine, but if you go down, the size increase and the tendency to lose one electron is a little lesser, so they have less powers. Similarly, if you talk about reducing power, it is just the other way around. See, this is happy to be in F minus state, but this is easy to go to I2 state. This is happy to be in F minus state, so this will not try to go to F2 state, right? Correct? As I told, this state is unstable and this is stable. So it will not try to go to F2 state, because if I'm talking about reducing power, it has to get oxidized. That means it has to go to F2 state. It is -1 state, it will go to 0 state. Correct? So this will not want to go to F2 state, so it has less power to reduce. Similarly, that's why this guy has more power. Hope you understand this. See, F2 is very unstable state. It always wants to go from F2 to F minus state. Right? This is stable and this is unstable. So now F2, that's why immediately it will want to go to F minus, that it will want to reduce itself. That is, it has a very strong oxidizing power. Correct? When you talk of F minus, that is HF, it will not want to go to unstable state of F2, so that it will have very weak reducing power. So now let's understand the disproportionation reaction. In this reaction, both oxidation and reduction happen for single element. So if you see, so element in one oxidation state is both oxidized and reduced. So for example, if I have one element in element state X, so you'll see X minus K here 1 and X minus K2 here. For the same element, if this is the oxidation state X, so you'll see one lesser oxidation state and one more oxidation state, because one is oxidized and one is reduced, right? That's what it says. So we'll take some examples to understand this. So here the logic is the same element is oxidized and reduced, right? So for this to exist, if you see, you should have an element where 3 oxidation state is possible, right? That is one scenario, one requirement. 3 oxidations should exist: x minus k1 and x plus k1, or x plus k2. 3 oxidation states should exist, and also the one in the reactant side should be in the middle of the range, right? It should not be that this is the lower. If it's the lower, it won't be able to reduce further, right? So if you see, the reactant substance should always have at least 3 oxidation state, minimum 3 oxidation state, as I explained. And also if you see, the reactant substance, that is the reactant, it should be in the intermediate oxidation state. It should not be extreme. If it is extreme, it may not be able to oxidize or reduce, depending on which is the extreme left or extreme right. We'll take some examples on this, right? And for example, if you see H2O2, when it reacts with when gives water and oxygen, if you see in this case the oxygen state is in -1, correct? So this becomes +1. That based on the rule we have. The rule is free image of human face. Free is not applicable, image is not applicable, O is applicable with exception -1, and then we can apply the sum rule, we get +1. Similarly this one, free image oxygen is applicable -2, apply the rule, you get sum rule, you get +1. Here it is 0, free is oxygen, right? So now if you see, the oxygen had oxidation state of -1 here. Here it is -2, right? So from -1 to -2 it got reduced. Here it is -1, it is 0, it got oxidized, correct? See, -1 to -2 is 1 and -1 to 0 is 1. So if you see, this guy is reduced, this guy is oxidized, correct? And for oxygen also we have 3 oxidation state, -1, 0, -2, and this was in the intermediate range. P4 plus 3OH minus plus H2O gives PH3 plus H2PO2 minus. So here P4, it will have 0 oxidation state, free form. Here OH minus, O will be, anyway, leave it because we are concerned only about the phosphorus oxidation state. PH3, by rule H will be +1, so P will become -3. In this case, by rule we'll have oxygen first, hydrogen. So with this we get phosphorus as, this will become -4, let me write it, it will be X. So this becomes +2 plus X minus 4 is equal to -1, right? So you get X as -1 and this becomes -2 plus 2, that's +1. This becomes +1, correct? So now if you see with, so now if you see, phosphorus became -3, 0 to -3, and here it becomes 0 to +1. So if you see, in this case it got reduced, it got oxidized. So both oxidation and reduction happened for phosphorus. Here we will see there are 3 oxidation states, 0, +3 and -1, right? And 0 was the intermediate state, correct? Similarly, you can take example, sulfur gives S2 minus and this plus water. So here oxidation state of sulfur has to be 0, free. S2 minus, we can apply this ions 1, so this becomes -1/2 because 2x is equal to -1, so -1/2. So this becomes S2O3 -2. Let's solve this. Apply the formula. Oxygen is -2. -2 into 3 -6. Let's assume this is y. So 2y minus 6 is equal to -2. So this is +2. Right? So you see from here 0 became +2, 0 became -1/2. So one got oxidized, one got reduced. Correct? One more example you can take. Chlorine gives ClO minus and Cl minus. So chlorine here is oxidation of 0. Here it is -1. Directly you can see this. In this case it will be, let's apply the rule. Free ion oxygen will apply here. This becomes -2. So this becomes +1. So if you see chlorine has 0. From 0 it became +1 here. And from 0 it became -1 here. Correct? So chlorine also got oxidized and reduced both. And please note, fluorine will not have tendency to show this disproportionation reaction. Why? Because fluorine has oxidation state of -1 only. And one rare case we saw +1. It doesn't have 3 oxidation state. So it should have at least 3 oxidation state to show disproportionation reaction. Fluorine doesn't have, so it won't show disproportionation reaction. Correct? Hope you understand this. So it should have at least 3 oxidation state, and the reacting side should be in the intermediate. If it is in the extreme, so it won't be able to either get oxidized or reduced. Correct? For example, a substance X has oxidation state of 1, 2 and 3 only. Now if this guy is 1, so it can't reduce, it can't become 0, right? Because it has, for reduction it has to become 0. Right? It can oxidize, but it can't reduce. So extreme is not helping here, right? If this guy, or if it is 3, then it won't be able to oxidize, because if oxidize it has to become 4, which is not possible because it has only range between 1, 2 and 3. So it has to be 2. If it is 2, it can become 1, it can become 3, right? So then in that case, in this case, it got reduced, it got oxidized. It has to have minimum 3 oxidation state, and the reacting side, it should be in the intermediate state.
Thank you. Visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thanks once again.